Welcome to Nazism and the Rise of Hitler, Part 4. Under the shadow of Second World War, Germany had waged a genocidal war, that is, killing of innocent civilians. The number of people killed included 6 million Jews, 200,000 Gypsies, 1 million Polish civilians, and 70,000 Germans who were considered mentally and physically disabled. Nazis devised an unprecedented means of killing people, that is, by gassing them in various killing centers like Auschwitz. The Nuremberg Tribunal sentenced only 11 leading Nazis to death. Many others were imprisoned for life. Let's now study about youth in Nazi Germany. Hitler was fanatically interested in the youth of the country. So he thought that the strong Nazi society should be set up. So this required a control over the child both inside and outside the school. So Nazi society teaching children Nazi ideology. First, the schools were cleansed and purified, means the undesirable children, Jews, the physically handicapped, gypsies, thrown out of the school. The children were first segregated, German and Jews. Teachers who were Jews were also dismissed. Good German children were subjected to a process of Nazi schooling, a prolonged period of ideological training. The school textbooks were rewritten, racial science was introduced to justify Nazi ideas of race, and stereotypes about Jews were popularized, even through maths classes. Children were taught to be loyal and submissive, hate Jews, and worship Hitler. Even the function of sports were to nurture a spirit of violence and aggression among the children. Hitler believed that the boxing could make children iron-hearted, strong, and masculine. Youth organizations were made responsible for educating German youth in the spirit of National Socialism. Okay, let us see this pyramid. In the bottom of the pyramid, it is the child enters the Jungvolk at the age of 10. At age of 14, all boys had to join the Nazi Youth Organization, or also called as Hitler Youth. Here they were taught to worship war, glorify aggression and violence, condemn democracy, hate Jews, communist, gypsies, and all those categorized as undesirable. At the age of 18, rigorous ideological physical training. After this, they will enter the labor service. And after this, they serve in the armed force and enter one of the Nazi organization. The Youth League of Nazis was founded in 1922. 4 years later, it was renamed as Hitler Youth. To unify the youth movement under the Nazi control, all other youth organizations were systematically dissolved and finally banned. The Nazi cult of motherhood. Children in Nazi Germany were repeatedly told that women were radically different from men. They need to be good mothers to rear pure-blooded Aryan children. They have to maintain the purity of the race. They have to distance themselves from the Jews. They have to look after the home and teach their children Nazi values, bearers of Aryan culture and race. In 1933, Hitler himself said, "In my state, the mother is the most important citizen." Mothers who produced racially desirable children were awarded. They were given favored treatment in the hospitals and were also entitled to concessions in shops and on theatre tickets and railway fares. Women who bore racially undesirable children were punished. To encourage women to produce many children, honor crosses were awarded. Bronze cross for 4 children, silver cross for 6 children, and gold for 8 or more. All Aryan women who deviated from the prescribed code of conduct were publicly condemned and severely punished. Many received jail sentence and lost civic honor, as well as their husbands and families for this criminal offense. The art of propaganda. The Nazi regime used languages and media with care and often to great effect. The terms they coined to describe their various practices are not only deceptive, they are chilling. Nazis never used the words kill or murder in their official communications. Mass killings were termed as special treatment, final solution, killing of Jews, euthanasia, killing of disabled people, then selection and disinfections. Evacuation means deporting people to gas chambers. Gas chambers were called as disinfection areas, and it looked like bathrooms equipped with fake shower heads. Media was carefully used to win the support for the regime and popularize its world view. Nazi ideas were spread through visual images, films, radio, posters, catchy slogans, and leaflets. In posters, groups identified as the enemies of Germans were stereotyped, mocked, abused, and described as evil. Propaganda films were made to create hatred for Jews. The most infamous film was The Eternal Jew. Orthodox Jews were stereotyped and mocked. They were shown with flowing beards, wearing kaftans, whereas in reality it was difficult to distinguish German Jew by their outward appearance because they were a highly assimilated community. They were referred to as vermin, rats, and pests. Their movements were compared to those of rodents. Ordinary people and the crimes against humanity. How did the common people react to Nazism? Many saw the world through Nazis' eyes, spoke Nazis' language, and they felt hatred and anger surge inside them when they saw someone who looked like a Jew. They marked the houses of Jews and reported suspicious neighbors. They genuinely believed Nazism would bring prosperity and improve general well being. But not every German was a Nazi. Many organized active resistance to Nazism, braving police repression and death. The large majority of Germans, however, were passive onlookers and apathetic witnesses. They were too scared to act, to differ, to protest. They preferred to look away. The stereotypical image published in Nazi press haunted the Jews. They troubled them even in their gym. Jews died many deaths even before they reached the gas chamber. Pastor Neumiller, a resistance fighter, observed an absence of protest, an uncanny silence among the ordinary German in the face of brutal and organized crimes committed against people in the Nazi Empire. Charlotte Berdat secretly recorded people's dream in her diary and later published them in a highly disconcerting book called The Third Reich of Dreams. She describes how Jews themselves began believing in the Nazi stereotypes about them. They dreamt of their hooked noses, black hair and eyes, Jewish looks and body movements. Knowledge about Holocaust. Information about Nazi practices had trickled out of Germany during the last years of regime. But it was only after the war ended and Germany was defeated that the world came to realize the horrors what had happened. While Germans were preoccupied with their own plight, Jews wanted the world to remember the atrocities and sufferings they had endured during the Nazi killing operations. And is called as Holocaust. At its height, ghetto inhabitant had said to another that he wanted to outlive the war just for half an hour. Presumably, he wanted that he able to tell the world about what happened in Nazi Germany. Camp inhabitants wanted to tell the world the atrocities of Nazi. They wrote diaries, kept notebooks, and created archives. On the other hand, the war seemed lost. The Nazi leadership distributed petrol to its functionaries to destroy all incriminating evidences available in offices. The memory of Holocaust live on in memories, fiction, documentaries, poetries, memorials and museum and in many parts of the world today. These are the tribute to those who resisted it, an embracing reminder to those who collaborated and a warning to those who watched in silence. Thank you, students. We are coming to the end of Nazism and the rise of Hitler. I believe you understood the lesson and appreciate the value of peace in the world.